Expand translation. I don't care about the provocation of the enemy. He thinks that people like this, living so unruly and chaotic, in the end times, sooner or later, there will be a short life. If not, because of the power of the enemy and the protection of the Wu army, he was soon killed by someone else. If the enemy really fights Zhang Yi, there are hundreds of ways to heal, to make his death become ugly. After leaving the army, the fluid feels more relieved, knowing they won't leave right away. He's not worried about the chaotic situation in Tianhai City because of the presence of strong characters from Jiangnam Great Zone. The translation thought, the armed forces have recently left. Red Pepper practice says so as well. Must pass quickly. Ask a little bit about the news. He went to the Yangtze base to find the Red Pepper. The soldiers at the base were very familiar with Zhang. They respect him after the battles. When they're competitors, they're afraid of the epidemic. And when they're allies, they respect him. Mr. Zhang. Wait a minute, I'll report right away. A human captain said and went to find the Red Pepper. Just a moment later, red meat came in front of the translation. He saw the red light and just talked to someone. Is curious. Captain, this is a guest. Learn to speak comfortably. It's all done. Why do you have time to find me? What's going on? He looked around and told her. Let's go outside and talk. Red Wine seemed surprised. She looked at the translation from top to bottom and said with a strange expression, you have no shortage of women. I warn you not to get involved with me. Zhang Yi couldn't help but laugh. He kept shaking his hands. You've thought too much. I just want to ask for your help. There are too many people here to talk to. Don't worry about this part. Let's go. Red Pepper and Trong Ying, let's take a leisurely walk together. It's like walking in a military zone. When you see there's no other AI around, if you ask what is wrong, just say it. Tang Translate reply, you said before that? You can gather 10 facts about people in the city. The sea, right? That's right. He blinked at the translation and asked. So you want to find out who's who? She thinks the campaign wants to look up information about AI. That, maybe it's the snow flute in this area. For the people of the Tianhai city, it was almost completely destroyed. I am very curious about the purpose of the book. Trong Yi replied casually. I want information about the 2 bases, along with the leader of the Snows and their aides. Ask the surprised Red. You're not sure about them yet. Smiling is not unsettling. I'm the one who's always careful. I like to be prepared to take risks. Pink Pepper practiced laughing softly. Do you want to know more about us? Laugh if you are willing. That would be the best thing. Red Pepper training refused immediately, without thinking. Dream it. How can you disclose your personal information? Let Trong Yi know. Zhang Yi laughed at you. Can you help me? Red Pepper practiced frowning eyes revealed doubt. She wasn't sure of Zhang's true purpose. You have information in your hand, but really, not enough details to introduce people's lives. However, after the end of the world, she took advantage of her former position and power to collect 10 pieces of information about the important people of each power. So, your information collection can be considered quite comprehensive. But that information is mostly from the pre-apocalyptic period, so they're not very useful now. For Trong Dewey to get these documents, it's not a big deal. I can give it to you. But Red Pepper curls the corners of the mouth. What do you want to exchange them for? You don't. To provide free information to Trong Duck. Smiling softly, what do you want? Food, energy, or weapons? We don't lack those things. Red Pepper practiced waving. There are too many dead now. The problem solving. Resource shortage in Tianhai City. It's become easier again. You don't need those temporarily. If I give you information, I hope I can get a promise from you. Ask the translation. Promising to promise something. Red trained to look at him. If one day we are in danger, I hope you can help us once. The movement in my heart feels a little funny. They believe in the promise. Do you find such a promise useful? Let us take Red seriously. I find it very helpful. In the Tianhai City, only we are left. If you want to survive, continue. We need to cooperate and maintain a certain social order. If not in a totally chaotic environment, no one can live peacefully. I thought for a moment and felt that this condition is quite easy to accept. If you ever need his support, and that's easy to deal with, I don't mind helping once. But if it requires too much sacrifice, then the story goes the other way. Nod your head. Yes, I will agree with you. For Red Pepper, this is a zero loss, zero profit opportunity. You don't have to pay anything. Red Pepper said, it's just a little bit of information in the system. The information is in our base's servers. I'll send it to you when I get back. Trong asked, when do you plan to return? Red Pepper, just go. Talk here is almost done. We should also go back and rebuild the base. We're leaving tomorrow. There's one more thing. It's a reorganization of our armed forces. She took a deep breath. This battle, we've also lost a lot. If you look at Zhangji, you don't go. Laughing, we are about to leave. He wants to see some more. He wants to get back in touch with the investigation team. He needs to make sure all the emperors in Tianhai City was destroyed. I can safely return to my hiding place. If not with the speed of the LAN virus of the king. You just need one to survive. Not long after, a terrible epidemic that could break out again. His campaign and Zhu Kai, Ni, back to the military area. He still has a normal attitude. They even laugh. Hello Zhang Yat first and the followers of the snows. He didn't express skepticism about the cult, as well as not showing any reaction with the sudden appearance and disappearance of zombies. In the meeting rooms of the bases, I want to show everyone my intention to leave. Go of their group. Now, the Tianhai City is in a state of desolation. Our flourishing base. He also suffered 7 heavy. There's a lot of work to be done from scratch. We need to get back to the system quickly. Everyone seems to understand. The sea also speaks. I also arranged for my men to go to sea. The heavens hear this. It seems like everyone is leaving. He also started thinking about the base. When will I go? However, I am not surprised to tell you at this point. After this battle, The Tianhai city has lost many precious resources. The old houses suffered 7 major losses. The fighting force is also weak. So, we decided to share some of our resources. When she finished, she took out 5 small wooden boxes. Everyone's no stranger to these wooden boxes. The whole Tianhai city, great powers have all owned them. It contains amber ice, the risk of not separating itself. For non-conformists, it's not easy to separate the amber, because those are her most delicate cells. In my life, you can only produce a few hundred amber ice cubes. Each time the amber tape production, your body has become weak. Like this time she shared for each family. Of the 5 forces present here, even the investigation team get a piece from you. Limited quantity. We can only supply 2 amber ice cubes per house. If you meet someone with a gift, let them use them. If you can't identify the target, have the potential. It's best for current mutants to use. It can activate the potential of the human body. It helps mutants become stronger. When you don't say these words, her eyes flash gently over the leaders. When you don't take out the ice, there was a cold feeling in my heart. It's like standing in the middle of a blizzard in the Arctic and suddenly got the attention of a polar bear. The doubt in his heart grew stronger. If his guess is correct, and Yuan's ability to not really be true, then you distribute the amber to everyone. It means that in the not-too-distant future, you will attack them. She thought of it in a cold sweat. The sermon will end. Subdue them, and then usurp their power. Zhu Hai could not help but remember what Zhu Hai Ni had said before, when I didn't want to take the ice, but was rebuffed. This also proves that the use of amber tape, it really depends on the recipient's decision, not for no reason. Red Pepper, Fall Sea, and Celestial Figures and others, there was joy on their faces. They're all the ones who have benefited from the ice. Before, used amber to create the first group of mutants, and from their success in maintaining its position. For the amber, they're so hungry. Especially at a time like this. They need to hurry, increase the fighting power of his forces. And for the amber, there is no doubt in their hearts. From the beginning, they conducted a thorough examination and determined that this type of material does not cause any negative effects. For the body, humans also have no ability to control their minds. You don't hide, looking at people with probing eyes, so they can use it safely. Pink Pepper practice stitching waiting. Take the bandage in your hand. The Holy Father, thank you very much. Nguyen Din Hai and the celestial form also quickly. Take the amber in your hand. Vu did not show any emotion on his face. But he's very interested in this kind of thing, and want to bring back the research. He came to the city. The ocean also has a mission, is to observe your level of ability without faking. In the mind of the movement is constantly thinking, if she can really help people wake up. Ability without spending too much money. You're going to be a scary poker squeezing mutant. Obviously, with restrictions on the amount of ice that France can produce. This effect will be reduced, but still very valuable, especially for elite Delta-level mutants, like a border army. But he still smiles. Just like everyone else, he also expects to receive the tape. Smile to the air, talking to the danger, and Zhang Yat first. I think we owe you a favor this time. If you need anything later, just say it. The laughter deepened. You don't nod. Maybe later we'll become one. Supporting each other is essential. Thank you for not being so generous. Then leave the church. At night, no one talks. In his heart, Zhang Yi felt alert again. With 2 more of these amber ice cubes, now he's got a total of 3 amber. Based on ability, they can make 3 mutants. As long as the owner doesn't die, the power will not come back. Your people are not fake, and they don't cause any side effects. This has been held by 4 large bases. Verification through many methods. They have superior technology and capabilities compared to Trong Dewey. No need for him to confirm. To expand the thought, the purpose of the danger is for the leaders of the world, or powerful mutants who use amber. However, he has no intention of using it, because even SAO is hard to do. As in the future, he can let the children and the children use it. It's possible to create 3 new mutants. However, their potential will determine the maximum limit of the ability, and it's hard to predict. For spending, Hong Training and Celestial use amber tape. After a thought, they decided not to remind them. He still doesn't fully trust them. If you remind them, he might accidentally reveal his suspicions. For the risk of not. If they want to use it, it's up to them. As long as they don't die. See, there is no other problem right now. Dawn the next day. The people of the Yangtang base pack their bags. Prepare to return. They're moving fast, so they come back fast. As for the $1 million base, there's a lot of wounded who need a few more days of rest. God and his group. Even though it cost 7 to fight at least, but also tired after a hard battle. They also plan to rest before leaving. So there's only Red Pepper and her team to leave the headquarters of the cult. Trong Yi and his team also naturally stayed. After a great battle of life and death, relationship between people has become more harmonious than before. And there's a sense of shared destiny. He said as he approached the Red Cross and said, "When we come back, don't forget what we promised." He opened his arms to embrace him. Zhao Hong trained to laugh Trong Yi. "Don't worry, I'll send it to you as soon as I get there. Even though I am looking forward to your support." Red Pepper has a balanced physique. They usually wear tight clothes when fighting. With a hug like that, make Zhang Yi feel her plump physique. He replied with a hug and a pat on her back. Let us remember the promise. While you're hugging each other, from the distance comes a harsh quarrel. Where are you going? They both seem curious. People are cleaning up after the battle right now. Who doesn't understand what's going on? Trong Yi asked for Red Pepper training. Your base is also beginning to lose its unity. She said less nonsense. Look at it first. Many people get their attention from the noise in the distance. They saw a young man and a girl arguing. The young man's face flushed red. Talking excitedly is like not changing your voice. The girl is calmly reasoned calmly. They have no other. That's why music and his girlfriend. From bumper to bumper. According to the scene, it looks like they broke up. That way, not far behind her, was a tall officer of the base. From the bumper to see the music and say music. Let go of your hands. We found a better place to go. I hope you understand. We're no longer fit. Music in my eyes full of fear. He has become that now. It's only the word bumper that gives us hope of survival. The past was good. Suddenly you change. Is it just because he's missing a part of it? Or not? The music screams in great suffering. You can't leave me. I need you right now. You forgot we used to be so happy. You said we'd be together forever. You forgot why. The music collapsed. In the eyes from the bumper flashed regret. But you're not weak. In the end times, you survived until now. It's because of my wisdom. From the bumper to the music, I have found someone more suitable for me. He and I could have a better life when we left. He is stronger than you and can protect me. It also gives us more resources. If you were in my position, you would choose the same. Not even 20 years old, but you've been through a lot in the end. It makes you grow quickly. People's most basic need is to survive. Love is just a spice in the end. It can be enjoyed, but it cannot be considered a goal. However, music is also unacceptable. He's crying, or I can't. Betrayal, I love you. How could he love you more than me? I can see that music is playing a child's game. The surgeon shook his head. I'm telling you the truth. I approached you only because of you. You are the priest of the church. Even though you are good enough, I have some sympathy. But only because of that. We can't choose someone younger than us. They can't protect us either. Love at this time, to be honest, is not to lie to yourself or SAO. Behind from bumper, the soldiers became impatient. He said the word superfluous coldly. We're going to go. The breakup also needs to end. From dust, quickly turn people. Come back. She looks cute and cute in front of him. Sorry CA took up your time. Let's go. When you're done, you don't turn around and start. Leave according to the soldier. The music rolled its eyes. His eyes were filled with fear and disbelief. Currently, the music is only left in abundance. He wondered how he would live without her. His instincts made him stretch out his hand to hold on from the multiple. You should not leave me. If you dare to go, I will die to show you. But the patience of the word multiply has run out. You are angry to promote the music of Ra and speak with indignation. Have you finished the music yet? Now you have become the eunuch, dreaming about it again. These words made the air suddenly quiet. Eunuch. Wrinkle lift. I don't know because I said that when I said that. From a cold bumper to an ex-lover. You don't deserve it now. To see the music in his mind. The young man. Because he was too young to have some unfortunate incident. Just a few seconds later, from bumper to bumper, took the Kier soldier's hand and left. You just want to live a good life. You're not to blame. Listen to music when you hear the words. The music of extreme suffering. He stood still and watched. Follow the word, bumper, and the soldier gets on a truck. I lost the strength to keep going. Suddenly, from his throat came a cry of suffering like a wild animal. And run frantically into the distance. Trong Yi recognizes the identity of Li Kai music. However, he is not very familiar with the sword family. Just quietly observe the situation. Red Pepper training standing next to. After witnessing the event, laughing, this boy seems to have never experienced life. So naive. Trong Yi does not make fun of the music. But for him, it's also a good lesson. To grow up without suffering. In the process of growing up, everyone used to want love, right? But the process of awakening from fantasy to reality, it's certainly hard and painful. To wake up is to become an adult. If you do not wake up, you cannot grow up forever. Before sending off Red Pepper training, and do not forget to inquire. I'm waiting for you to send me a message. Red Pepper practiced nodding goodbye. The group of people quickly got into the car. Leave the snow. Just a moment later, Zhang Yi saw the sword and his wife ran to him. Find the music. Maybe they get it. News about my son. Afraid of something bad happening to him. The faces of Li's sword and Zhang Jianfang were worried. They know their son. Music has been protected since childhood. I've never experienced an attack. So his personality is always optimistic. It's fun, but also a little naive. He's been through a lot lately. The spirit was not stable. Now from multiples. Who he sees as a spiritual pillar. Leave him again. Li's sword and Zhang Jianfang were naturally worried that he can do something stupid. They were in a hurry to ask around where they had picked up. Zhang Yi shook his head in exclamation. Pity for parents in the world. Some said he ran out of the barracks. Towards the northwest. Li's sword and Zhang Jianfang rushed to chase. They went a long time without coming back. It wasn't until late at night that people saw them coming back. But at that time, Li's expression and seeing the like a lost soul. People immediately guessed that the music may be dead. No one wants to talk about this. Death has become too common, and everyone quietly accepted. Whether others live or die, life will continue as usual tomorrow. 2 days later, Zhang realized that I didn't get 10 useful information. In the snow. Meanwhile, the police also sent him information that he needs. Talk to Red Pepper through the computer. I've received a document on how you're doing. Pepper Pink practice happy reply. Has begun to officially regenerate. Not talking to you now. I know she's busy nodding. Then Zhang Yi felt unnecessary. Have to stay longer. He told himself. It's time to go back to the shelter. Find the 6th revelation together to analyze these materials. Before that, I advise the soldiers to stay for a while. To frighten the original, not fake. So he decided to find the frontier. He said the captain. Can we just say a few words in private? The officer looked at him and laughed and asked, Have you changed your mind? The police know he's implying. He smiled when he went to Jiangnan. That's not the point. I only have some things I'm worried about. I want to discuss with you. The military looked at their comrades. Everyone was curious to look at Zhang Yi, in which the enemy even has an unpleasant face. They don't know what Zhang Yi wants to do. But the military agreed. Let's talk in private somewhere else. 2 people away from the crowd. Go to a deserted area. Outside the Twiat Jiao camp. There's no one else here. You have something to say. The army's tone was as cold as ever. He looked at the cheeks of the soldiers. It was even whiter than the first time they met. It's even whiter than the snow on the ground. Blue and purple on the lips of the Wu soldiers make Zhang epidemic were his health condition. Trong Yi knew that the Wu army did not like circling, so he gets straight to the point. Captain Squad, I hope you can stay in the Mediterranean city. One more time. The military looked at Zhang Yi, waiting for his further explanation. Continuation of the mission this time. I always felt it ended like this. It doesn't seem like a sure thing. From the very beginning, we assume that the king possesses high intelligence, so they can recognize we're setting up a trap to draw them in. No, if that's true, why are they all in the same place? To make it easy for us to handle. The military answered soberly. We've considered this issue. But in the end, these mutant creatures are not humans. Their wisdom is also limited. More from that battle so far. We didn't find out either any major zombie activity. Ask the border troops. Have you ever seen a more advanced creature? Is the king outside? The military does not understand the meaning of these words. You want to say something. Can you say it directly? Zhang Yi's deep gaze looked at the military. He knew he needed to convince the investigation team. Stay in Tianhai City. Their presence, it would be a major threat to the snow. If everything is as Zhang Yi speculates, you're not strong and strong. Maybe he's the biggest behind. As long as the investigation team doesn't leave, they also dare not act rashly. Continue to translate. I suspect there's someone behind it controlling the zombies. It's our job to destroy the kings. It's just the surface. It's probably even worse. Emphasis on translation. Tell the army. Maybe this time zombies are so easy to solve. It's just a play for us. The goal is to push us away, as well as to deceive the Jiangnan Great Region. The military stopped, turned to look at the chapter coldly. The fluid feels the sharp gaze behind his sunglasses. Let's continue the war this time. Even though it seems that we won Nan, but we find it really advantageous. Every action, it's like zombies deliberately working with us. You don't feel weird. The military was silent for a long time. Then open your mouth and ask, is there any evidence of what you say? We need evidence. Sigh and sigh. Think for a moment. Finally shook his head reluctantly. We don't have concrete evidence yet, as these dubious points do exist. The military slur is not satire. It's like encouraging. You are very careful. This attitude is very good. Be careful, you can be more tired. But it's hard to be in danger. But don't worry too much. No matter what happens in the Mediterranean city, with the Jiangnam Great Zone, it's just a small thing. He stretched out his thin hands and twirled his fingers. No matter how much noise, we can also easily control it. Smile softly. No more demands from the military. Even from beginning to end. That's just his suspicion, without any clear evidence. He didn't expect to be able to convince the military. But just need, he planted, sprinkle the seeds of doubt in the arms frontier. He believes that with the wisdom of the frontier, he'll also notice something unusual. I understand if I find something. I will notify you first. Then you will not leave us, will you? Zhang Yi said jokingly. But that's not entirely a joke. If his predictions come true, then finally they will face many times more formidable enemies. Compared to zombies. Border Dancer pushes her sunglasses. Jiangnan Great Zone controls all areas. If there's a high-level threat, we will not hesitate to act. Of course, if you're still worried, why not come back with us? There's no safer place than a snowstorm. Hands down, we'll look at it later. I want to get back to the shelter quickly. The army did not force him. I will send you off. Shuang Yip said politely, there is no need. Thank you. After saying goodbye to everyone, it's about Zhu Kai Ni and his team. Get in the car and leave the snow. To go back to my hiding place. Now a voice is heard. Wait a minute and the border troops come back. You can see the sword is coming. This is you. The sword gripped Zhang Yi's hand. Say no to sentences. When the military saw this, they were curious. This is the translation. It happened to his son yesterday that he was looking for. I guess I can't find it, or... Vu did not ask any more. He patted his shoulder. I wish you a happy life and a happy smile. The car slowly left the battlefield full of bodies. Looking through the rearview mirror. Gazing intently, looking towards the camp of Tuya Zhao. Complicated mood. Behind the border troops are still waving to him. I wish you peace. The border guard seemed to realize what he was telling himself. See if you have to stay for a while. On the way home, Zhang Yi took out a piece of white cloth from his pocket. It's full of little letters. He was curious to open it. 28 days ago, a house of 3 people, we and our neighbors were invited. Lead to preaching. You didn't know after knowing my abilities. Take me to get blood. When I read this, Zhang Yi squeezed the cloth named Tay. He feels, maybe my previous assumptions were right. He remembered the look and face of the sword. When I met you, I seemed very nervous and scared. Close your eyes and think for a moment. Zhu Kai Ni is curious. I see the fluid in my hand. Tilt your head. What is this? Zhang Yi put the cloth in her pants pocket. Smiling and saying nothing, I just changed my underwear. The boy's face immediately became strange. You have time to change your underwear. During the 10 days of waiting at the snow, they didn't get a chance to shower. So, Zhang Yi's words made Zhou Kai Ni suspicious. Zhang did not explain anything further, and she didn't keep asking. On the way, they saw some zombies. After losing the command of the king, they have no purpose, wandering in the snow field. Some have been frozen, probably completely dead. Even zombies that can withstand the cold. You can't live too long in -60. Add to that when you lose your food source. Death is inevitable. In the heart, Zhang Yi kept thinking about the sermon. The sermon compared to our speculation. There's a lot more horror.